Good morning, party people. I am still in Cincinnati. I got to do some stuff to Panther today. It's a rainy day here in Cincinnati, but I don't think it's going to rain anymore today. But the temperature is supposed to be close to 60 degrees. Getting a little bit of blue skies. Excellent day to be out and about, taking care of stuff. Saturday. So I got to go run an errand, and then I'm going to go and do a control arm on Panther, replace the turbo on Panther, do that hybrid. Man, I wish there was a place I could do a quarter-mile time, but you know, this town is too congested for that. Don't have none of those desert roads, and I don't think there's any tracks open. So I'll probably do a 0 to 60 time, maybe 0 to the speed limit time, and post that, and then do it again once I replace the turbo and update the tune on it. So that's where I'm at. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. Finishing up on Red Baron. Welcome to Hanging Out with Robert. That's me. This video contains things that I tinker with throughout the day. For step-by-step detailed instructions of those tasks, you can click on the links in the comment section below. I plan on leaving this video accessible for about 30 days. After that, you can view it through my Patreon account. This video also has tips and tricks that I've learned over the years. So, thank you very much for watching. The Porsche is back. Kicking off the day with Red Baron Boi. Made a mistake yesterday. Pulled the headliner out to re-glue the material down. And got some overspray on it. And the material that was down good was so tight that I don't think you can pull it off. So when we redo this, we're going to have to get another board from another 850 wagon or V70 wagon. But, man, I was hoping this glue would come up off of here, but it does not. And I was hoping it would dry clear. That didn't happen either. But for some reason, the first glue application didn't go well. And the stuff I did last night seemed to have done better. Anyway, live and learn. They got some transfer paper that you use on like doing vinyl. I could have put that down to protect the headliner material from overspray, and then lift it up, sprayed under there, and pressed it back down. But hey, hindsight's 20/20. But I'm gonna put this in there just so it can be in there, I guess. And heck, probably could paint it black, I don't know, and get this engine put back together so I can get Red Baron out of here. Got the headliner back in place. We're gonna have to replace that with the board because I got all them white spots on the top from glue overspray. Let's go ahead and wipe this cam cover down with some acetone. Lubricate the journal areas in the cams and get this thing installed. Assembly lube, choice number 1. I smeared it around on those journals. I put a little bit on the lifter tops. That's what you want to use. That'll stop it from grabbing until you get good oil lubrication, and it'll dissipate and mix in with the oil. Whereas grease, silicone grease, will bead up and it could actually clog things. So first choice, assembly lube. Second choice, a lot of fully synthetic oil. Third choice, a little grease. But you should be able to use assembly lube. That bottle was $5 or less. Oil's free because you're putting that in anyway. Silicone grease is okay. Don't use that if you don't have to. So I clean that off with acetone. Now I'm getting ready to set the cams in place. You can see some dirt I got on the rag from wiping it with acetone. Now, if you did not pull the sprockets off of the cam gears, you could actually put this in without using the locking tool. Make sure that crank is on the mark, then put the cams relative to their mark. You could move them once you got the head bolted down. And get this bolted down. Most important, get that crank on the mark. When that crank is on the mark, all the valves should be clear of contact once you bolt the cover down. If that crank is not on the mark, you're asking for trouble. The cam set in here with the timing about right. I can wiggle those around. After I get the cam cover down, I got the seals as best I can place them. Hopefully these seals won't leak. They're not that old, hadn't been in the engine but a few months. We'll see. Got the one set on the back. I'm gonna push that one in with the tool. Come up here, I wipe this down with acetone. And man, I didn't hardly get anything on it. That was clean. So now I'm gonna roll the anaerobic sealant out on there, set it in place and clamp it down with the drawdown tool I got from Andrew. Anaerobic sealant, I'm using the Permatex stuff. It's the part number there, 51850. Got my roller here, used it several times. Squeeze my anaerobic sealant in there and use that stuff. Got a gob of it there, I'm gonna move over. Then I'm gonna roll it in there. Let me grab a glove, I don't want that stuff all over my hands. Here it is, folks. The anaerobic sealant is applied. That's about as thick as I usually do it. If you torque this down and gasket sealant, this anaerobic sealant stuff oozes out of the edge, you've put too much. This cam cover has so many bolts in it that it almost makes a seal without anything. This anaerobic sealant is just like the icing on the cake, tops it off a little bit. So you don't need a bunch of this stuff. I read somewhere where it said that this stuff goes bad after 2 years after you, but I don't see that on this tube here. I've probably had this at least a year. Got that idea of reusing my roller from one of my mechanic buddies. Now, I don't know how long he's been using the same one, but I normally put it in there, put it in a Ziploc bag so it don't get contaminated. Now I'm going to go ahead and put some assembly lube in these journal areas, set this over there, and get the torquing this down. I need to make sure that my screws are not sticking out there. That'll stop me from putting that cam cover on. I'm going to try to be careful when lowering it down on top of those seals so that I don't knock those seals back. And set this thing on here and get it torqued down. Oh, I got to put them oil well tube seals in before I forget those. I've done that once before. Had to pull it right back up. These are Volvo spark plug well seals. However, they've been coming in feeling a little small, trying to bounce out of the holes. So I've been putting them over my fingers, rolling them around in my fingers, trying to stretch them out a little bit before I set them down there. These look like they're okay. This one's trying to come out. That one's got some extra material on it, which is kind of weird. That one's trying to come out. And make sure that stuff is down before you lay that cover down on there. You don't want those moving and getting pinched out of there. You'll have oil leaks. This stops oil from leaking down into your spark plug wells. Extra protection. All right, let me go get the cover, set it on here, and break out my drawdown tool. All of the screws out of my template holder. I started them, turned them in a few threads by hand, double checking these gaskets in there, make sure they're still in place. And now I'm getting ready to take the drawdown tool, put that drawdown tool on there, draw that cam cover down. Then I'm gonna torque the bolts starting from the inside, working my way out, back and forth, out from the inside. First thing you do, you set the drawdown tool in place and you screw these in by hand until you can't go no further. Then you tighten them all the way down till they bottom out, because they're in your spark plug wells. You don't need them tight, you need them snug. You don't want them messing up your spark plug threads. 2 and 4. Now, this tool is not quite right. It's sitting up on the cover there and down in there. I don't know if pulling this up and turning this around will matter, but it is not quite right. It's a problem when you get aftermarket tools sometimes. Anyway, now you want to draw this down and get a mallet and tap it while you draw it down. So I'm gonna snug this by finger till it starts to pull that down. Turn them one at a time. And it's closing the gap in that cover, making sure my seals and the spark plug welds are still in there. Going from one to the other. Now you want to tap around the four corners, not on the corners, but here, 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 with a rubber mallet. Let me go grab that mallet. You want to work the cover down. Tighten it a little more. This side normally goes down before this side, but you want to try to get it down even. And just work it all the way down until it's down. Then you want to torque your 10 millimeters. Let me use two hands. You want to just hold the cover down. It looks like it's down. I don't see any gaps in my spark plug holes. Now I'm going to torque these bolts down. 12 foot-pounds. Don't over tighten them. You don't want to strip any. Don't use a power tool. Don't want to strip any. And then you can remove that tool. You don't want to damage your spark plug threads in there by over tightening that. I snugged down all the screws. It's kind of hard getting these around this tool. You see it, they kind of sit under the tool. Maybe the tool's a little too wide here. Anyway, I'm gonna break the tool loose, torque them all down. Looks like they put a little more across the back on these engines versus the end engines, maybe because of the heat, trying to make sure you don't have cam cover problems, and a little bit more up near these VVT hubs. My Craftsman torque wrench, as you can see, my gauge is off. It's already reading 7 foot-pounds, but this edge over here is pointing to 0, so I'm gonna use that edge instead of this middle line as my gauge. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque all these bolts down and wrap this up. This oil cap gasket looks like it has cracks in it, so I'm gonna put a new one on there, and you can see very little anaerobic sealant oozed out of these crevices on this cam cover. Should be good to go. Timing belt on, the tensioner tight, 60-70 degrees. I'm gonna go ahead and roll the engine over, double check the timing, make sure the engine rolls over. I had a clamp for this. I don't see it, so I put a zip tie on that. And let me go ahead and roll this over, double check my timing, and pick up from there. The engine over, trying to double check timing. It is extremely hard on this car because of this tensioner in the way here. Let me see if I can get this thing down here. Camera. Probably should use a scope camera. There we go. Look like I'm still a tooth or two. I need to come back. Another tooth to get on the mark here. Should have marked it down here on the crank so it'll be easier for me. Didn't get no valve contact. That's always good. All right. Looks like I got it on the mark over there. Yep, it's down there on the mark. And I'm gonna double check up here on my cams. Timing's good. Time to put the stuff on the back of the cams, put the engine mount thing on, the cam seals in, and the coils and all that stuff. Get this fuel rail button back up, keep it cranking. And got this short serpentine belt on here again. It is incredible. I'm gonna call, see if I could get a longer one, and take a quick lunch break, come back, finish this up. Put. There it goes, people. Back from lunch, got my cam seals in, my cam sensor, my plug. You see the little bit of anaerobic sealant that came out of that head. Now I plugged in my ETC. Now I'm gonna put this bracket on the side and keep it moving. I think we are ready to fire up Red Baron. We got the cam seals in, cam sensor on, upper engine torque mount bracket on, throttle cable hooked back up and latched, the fuel injectors plugged in, the fuel rail tight, got a clamp on that fuel line there, got the coolant bottle in, got the ECU in locked down, got the vacuum line going over there for the boost. I got the ECU plugged in, I got the charge pipe hooked up, I got all the spark plugs in, the ground wires on them, and I have the charge pipe on. I'm getting ready to put the strut brace on, drop the battery in, or connect the battery. We should be ready to fire this thing up. Take it for a test drive, see if it's still smoking, which if it smokes, it's not because of the valve stem seals. I rolled the engine around a couple times on the crank, so I know the timing's not jammed up. I knew something was jacked up with this throttle cable. I routed this thing 6 different ways. Now I see it's touching this brace, but I don't think it matters that much. I could loop it over there, but it may not be as comfortable as it is being under there, so I'm gonna leave that alone. All right, so let me clean up this mess, hook up my battery, and fire this thing up, and see how much smoke blows out the back. Looks like I got everything moved out of the way. I'm gonna wipe this out, because I made a mess of that. Oil and stuff on there. But I don't see anything that would prevent me from starting this car. So let me go ahead and wipe that out. Fire this thing up. Get it out of here and bring Panther in and do the plugs and whatever else I could do with that. Probably just the plugs for now. Just remember one more thing on Red Baron. The parking brakes weren't as tight as I'd like them to be. It would let the car roll back like Panther was. Not as bad as Panther, but it let it roll back a little bit. So I'm going to jack it up, take the wheel off, adjust that parking brake, put the wheel back on before I roll this thing out. Somehow these directional tires got put on backwards. This tire has a rotation of that way, which is going to be up rotating the other way, and the right front tire is backwards. So I need to switch this rear tire with that front tire. Pay attention, people, when you put these wheels on, your car won't roll good if the wheels are not rolling the right direction. I got the wheels on right, all of the wheels torqued. It's time to go give this car to its owner. So I'm just gonna fire it up and get it out of here. Let me set the parking brake. Ugh. Oh yeah, that feels much better. Make sure I got my key to get out of here. And I'm gonna cut that light off in the back. Let's fire this thing up. Might still have some smoke because there was so much in the exhaust. But I'm gonna turn this light off back here. That'll let us see the smoke better. I got a haze on my phone. I don't know what that's from. probably from a dirty lens. Let me wipe this lens off again. Man, it's still hazy. My lens is cracked too. I don't know if that's got anything to do with it. Heck, maybe this is just hazy because I'm sweating it out here. Everything looks good. Let's fire her up. Fire in the hole. We got gauges. I'll make that one white like the other one. Fired right up. Got a little bit of smoke. See if it gets any worse. I'm gonna look under it for coolant and oil leaks, and then I'm gonna shut her down and get out of here. Yeah, I got some stuff spilled under there too. Man, that's an awesome picture, Red Baron in this garage. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and pop open the garage and get out of here. Take this car up to Andrew. Should be done smoking by the time I get there. Cruising right along. We don't have too many lights in this car other than that stereo. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but we in the natty. Oh, we got heat because I'm getting hot. I gotta cut that down. Here we are, folks. No smoking at idle.
Red Baron Boi.
I don't see no smoke down the street. I don't see no smoke down the street. If you feel that this information was useful, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can subscribe to my channel so that you will get notifications of future videos that I post. You can follow me on Twitter, and if you need to contact me directly, please visit my website. And if you have any questions, leave them below, and someone or myself will reply to them. Again, thank you very much for watching.